Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar part 2 hosted by YASH Technologies on the SAP EWM Extended Warehouse Management, Customer Fulfillment with Order Based Replenishment. So myself, Rambabu Yella, I'm a logistics solution architect working with YASH Technologies almost for 2 years. And I have total 12 years of industry experience in logistics and warehouse implementations. I worked on different industry sectors like pharma, manufacturing, wholesale, distribution, retail, and 3PL scenarios. And today our agenda is we're going to go through YASH company overview and EWM features, replenishment overview. We're going to go cover more details on the order-based replenishment. Then I'm going to show the live demo of order-based replenishment. And we are going to talk about what YASH is offering in the EWM area in the solutions. So YASH is a global company founded in 1996, and we have around like 3,000 employees across the globe. And our more major focus is mid and large enterprise. We offer all solutions, all different industry-specific solutions with different industry sectors, and we are a SAP Gold partner. And EWM features. So I'm going to cover just high level what EWM has. This in detail we covered in our previous webinar. If you would like to know more details, you can refer to our previous webinar, which is available on our YASH website. So EWM has best-in-class analytics. So when it comes to the analytics, you have based on your organization manager or supervisor or supply chain manager, you can have a different reports available, different dashboards available based on your KPIs, like based on order delivery time or based on your yard or truck loading times. We can set up different lots of out-of-the-box analytic reports are available. Built-in optimization techniques. There are a lot of functionalities to optimize your business processes like slotting, cartonization, wave management, resource and labor management, yard management, shipping cockpit, and dock appointment solution. There are many functionalities available which can optimize your business processes. And this is best suited for high volume operations like 24/7 running businesses, warehouses. Also has value-added services like for kitting, reprinting, repacking, a lot of other functionalities for your high velocity moving products. And EWM has good integration with leading-edge technology as well as your material flow systems. Like you can integrate it to the PLCs, you can integrate it to the voice picking and standard native technologies like RFID and RF barcoding. Everything is available out of the box. You have a ready-made plugins available to integrate to any of these third-party systems. And it's a very high degree of flexibility. When I say like EWM can be used, it's built in such a way that it can be used for all industry sectors like automobile, chemicals, retail, high-tech, and life sciences, and at the same time you don't need to implement all the functionalities right away. You can slowly adapt. Like you can start with whatever you manage and you can consider your future growth, and additional functionalities can be implemented in the future. And today I'm going to more talk about the replenishment overview. So in the replenishment, every organization needs a replenishment of the stocks from somewhere. So in this specific demo, I'm going to more focus on the replenishments within a warehouse. As I mentioned, the bottom piece of the slide, it's like the replenishments within a warehouse from overstock area to the forward pick area. Though the replenishments can happen from external vendors, manufacturing plants, or other distribution center, that's not the primary focus of today's webinar. And why do we need to have a replenishment? Basically, you need to have replenishment in the warehouse because you have to optimize your floor space, and you have to reduce your travel times, and you want to make sure the stocks are available readily for picking, and you want to use your space properly. So these are all different reasons why every warehouse needs a replenishment functionality. So what are the challenges in doing the replenishments? So if you do too much replenishments, you may be spending more time of your labor is going in replenishment, and you may be overfilled in your forward pick area where you may need larger space. What happens if you are doing less replenishment? That's another problem, because you may not have stock readily available for picking. Your delivery on times, deliveries may be impacted. So a replenishment is like kind of an art where you have to really balance it out based on your organizational needs, what kind of products you have. So in every industry, based on every business, these are some of the replenishment methods I'm going to talk about. So they are very industry generic replenishment methods everyone uses in one or different format. So, but high level, there are three different categories, three different methods of replenishment. Very first one is advanced or preventative replenishment, where you have a dedicated forward pick areas. You replenish them from the overstock based on your velocity or forecast. So for that, SAP EWM has the same functionality available in two different variations. One is on-demand and immediate replenishment. I'm going to talk those details in the next couple of slides. At the same time, the second very common method of an industry is demand replenishments or wave replenishments or day replenishment. Every organization calls them differently. So this is basically you consider your demand, like what is to be shipped for that day or for that wave, and then you make sure you replenish them before picking starts, product is available. In SAP EWM, it's called as an Order Based Replenishment. So again, how do you do those orders grouped together based on the waves? I'm going to cover more details in the forthcoming slides. The third method is emergency replenishments. This is something which everyone don't want to use this, but once in a while you may have these situations where your system and your physical quantities are not matching. You may need to request for emergency on an ad hoc basis. So that's called a picker-driven replenishment. So these are the three different kinds of replenishments for every industry needs, and all these needs are fulfilled by the EWM functionality. So now I'm going to talk about each one of these in detail. So advanced or preventative replenishment with the first variation, as I mentioned, we have SAP EWM has two different variations. So the first one is on-demand or periodic replenishment. So first let me explain like how the replenishment functionality works, then like what is on-demand or periodic means. So in this, you set up your minimum values, maximum values, and replenishment values for your forward picking or primary pick area. And you run those replenishment in the background as a scheduled periodic job, or maybe you can execute manually. Or when I say manually, you can execute in the foreground using a system transactions. Then system triggers the replenishment. So what causes it to trigger the replenishment is your minimum quantity. If the stock falls below the certain minimum quantity you set, system says, hey, I need something to be brought over here because it's below the minimum quantity. And how much to be bought? It depends on like what's your maximum quantity, set it up. So just to recap, replenishment is triggered once your stock falls below and system tries to replenish up to your maximum quantities. So what are this is a very common method used everywhere. And the second variation of the advanced or preventative replenishment is immediate replenishment or immediate trigger. The replenishment functionality exactly works same way as the previous one, like once the stocks fall below minimum, it triggers. But the difference here is you don't need to trigger manually, or you don't need to trigger as a background job. Here, your regular picking activities which you are doing, during that activity, if your stock goes below, system automatically triggers a replenishment in the background. The disadvantage with this, maybe I would say like not really a disadvantage, but one of the con is this replenishment are triggered throughout the day, and you may need to have a dedicated resources for doing this kind of replenishment. Whereas when you compare the previous one, you can plan them your resources for you can plan how much resources you need based on your preventative workload. You can plan your resources, and you can do that replenishment during the off-peak times. Maybe if you are shipping in the second shift, your first shift people can do the replenishments. So the next one is the emergency replenishment. This is kind of replenishment which is triggered manually by a picker. So when a picker walks to a bin and he thinks it's like down, it's just zero quantity or less than like whatever is requested. So user on the fly, he can scan onto his gun, scan the bin number, and say, hey, do the replenishment. So it's going to trigger the replenishment in the back. So this is the least preferred method for the replenishments. And now I'm going to talk about more details on the order-based replenishment. So before I start on the order-based replenishment, I just want to highlight a few of the disadvantages in the advanced replenishment or preventative replenishment. If your order demand is very fluctuating, or if your order demand is more than your capacity of your forward pick area, you don't have enough stock, so your picking fails. So that's where the order-based replenishment comes into picture, where system makes sure your demand is considered into the replenishment. So where exactly this order-based replenishment is used? So I'm going to cover this order-based replenishment is part of a customer fulfillment process. This is an end-to-end cycle where you have orders created. Then once the orders are created in EWM, the waves are created automatically based on predefined rules according to your business process. And for more details on the wave management, how do we set up the waves, you can refer to our previous webinar where we covered more details on the wave management. So waves are triggered, and based on the wave, you do the replenishment. Now you complete your wave replenishment. After your replenishment is completed, you do the regular picking and other optional steps like packing, staging, loading, and goods issue. This is where the order-based replenishment comes into your end-to-end customer fulfillment cycle. So now let's go on to more details on the order-based replenishment process. So in the order-based replenishment process, really you see the minimum quantity and maximum quantity. They don't really have any impact on the order-based replenishment. So order-based replenishment really looks at your stock on hand and your demand quantity. If your stock on hand is less than your demand quantity, system is going to trigger the replenishment for that. And then the replenishment quantity is based on, again, your master data. What are the minimums you want to do? So I'm going to talk more details in the coming slides, how exactly it works. So the major advantage with this is your picking is very smooth. When the picker goes for pick and delivery or order, system makes sure that you have enough stock available on hand. So today I'm going to show all these. These are the steps involved in the order-based replenishment. So first is a wave is created, and I'm going to show the monitoring, wave monitoring, and show the stocks, where the stocks are and how much the stocks are, and trigger the replenishment, and confirm the replenishment tasks using the RF handheld. Then I'm going to show warehouse monitor to show the stocks after the completion of the replenishment, and we are going to release the wave for further steps like picking and packing for further steps. So just to emphasize, so today I'm going to show these steps manually, all of this using the foreground, but over the step 1 and 2 and 3, you don't need to do these on your daily basis, because we can set these transactions to execute in the background based on your business requirements again, so that it saves your time. But any exception situations, you can run them manually, or you can keep monitoring them, the status of these waves and replenishments. So here is a scenario. I'm going to show you the demo case. So I'm going to take 2 different orders with 2 different materials. So material 1 is 101 and the second material is 210. This is the master data setup, like where material 1 has the minimum quantity of 25, replenishment quantity of 25, and material 210 has replenishment quantity of 10. And I have current stock on hand as a 20 for material 1, and my order quantities for the material 1 are 10 and 20. My total demand is 30, where my current stock on hand is 20, which is less than the total demand. So system is going to trigger a replenishment for 25, because we are saying minimum replenishment quantity is 25. So when I say minimum replenishment quantity as 25, this is more useful, like let's say you have a cottons where you want to replenish, your cotton size is 25 or case pack size is 25. When you are doing a replenishment, we don't really want to break your cases, because we want to replenish multiples of cases that will improvise your operations. That's the reason, that's where the replenishment quantity comes in. Similarly, in your second material, your stock on hand is 30 and your demand quantity is 45, where your demand is greater than your stock on hand. System is going to replenish this quantity. Here the replenishment quantity is 20, which is twice your replenishment quantity. That means, in example, we can say 2 cases. So now I'm going to show the demo. I'm going to connect into the SAP EWM. So this is EWM has one powerful tool called monitoring, whereas if you are coming from a regular SAP EWM background, you may be ending up in multiple transactions for doing some of your daily transactions. So this is a monitoring tool where you can find, it's like kind of one stop for all your inquiries, like your inbound, outbound, or stocks. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show what waves are due for. Okay, I'm going to pull. Wave is already created, as I have created 2 sales orders. And then these are my, I can pull the wave by looking at, so wave cutoff date, it's today's date is 9. So this is my wave number 117. So if I select my wave and show the items, these are the items, 4 items I have in my wave. As you see, the material 101 and the material 210, where you have 2 order numbers, 1532 and 1533. So these are the 2 different orders I have in the wave. Now I'm going to show you the stocks for these two products, because this is the total demand, like 30 and 45. Now I can just go in the same screen, stocks and available stock. So these two materials, so here is the available stock. I have in my forward pick area for 101 I have 20 available, and for material 201 I have 30 available, which is less than your demand. Whereas I have plenty of stock available in my overstock area. So now I'm going to run the replenishment report and show you how it is going to work. So this, I'm going to select order based replenishment, and this is my wave number. So again, this I'm showing in the foreground, but for your day-to-day activity, most of the time we can set up the jobs based on wave release time and creation date. So when I run this, so these are the two items system is going to replenish it, and the replenishment quantities, as you've seen, 25 and 20. If you want to know more details, you can just select this or highlight this and click on the details. So system will say this is the current stock on hand, the quantity to be picked, and this is minimum replenishment quantity, and total this is the current replenishment quantity, 25. As we have seen, it's the same example I explained on the slide. For the second material 201, if you look at the details, current stock is 30, quantity total to be picked is 45, your minimum replenishment is 10, your total replenishment quantity for this wave or for this demand is 20. So now I'm going to select these and run. So now two warehouse tasks were created for replenishment. So now this part in your day-to-day life you can run in the background. We'll set up the job so that this is triggered. And now the operator has to just replenish them using the RF handheld transaction. So now I'm going to show that. This is your RF. Operator is going to log on to his RF handheld and say internal process. Sorry. System guided by queue, because we already set up the queues. So user is going to log on replenishment queue, but again in your organization we can set up multiple replenishment queues based on the requirements. So here I just have one queue. As soon as I log on, I see the warehouse task number which was created for doing my replenishment. So if I say next, so this is the first item. So system says pick this particular item 101 from the source bin RY10115. So picker is going to walk to the bin, and then he's going to pick the quantity and then scan the bin. Then now I'm going to scan my material number, which is 101, and then the quantity. I'm going to confirm the quantity, then enter or next. So now it's going for the second item, 210, from the bin 21022. So picker is going to walk to this particular bin and scan the bin number and scan the product and confirm the quantity, enter. So here the system is asking source and HU destination handling units. I just took a simple scenario, but if you are handling it managed, that means if you have license plates to be scanned, we can set up with those license plates. But here I just make it simple without any license plates. And then now you picked all your quantities. Now it's a destination bin. You are going to walk to the destination bin, and then you are going to put away. So now your destination bin is pick 0001. I'm going to scan the destination bin and scan the material and confirm the quantity. Enter. Now the second bin, walk to the second bin for the second material, scan the bin, material, quantity, enter. So now everything is completed. That's why system gives suitable warehouse orders were not available. So that means this is the end of the, you have only one replenishment task. That's why system provided that if you have multiple, system is going to guide to the next replenishment activity. So now replenishment is completed. I'm going to come back to the warehouse monitor just to show you what happened to the stocks. So I'm going to refresh the stocks here screen. If you have noticed, now my stocks are increased on the picking bins 45 and 50. These quantities are now good enough for picking. So now I can further release my warehouse picking request so that the subsequent task can be done. So that's the end of the demo. Going back to the presentation. So now you have seen how the replenishment works, order-based replenishment works in the EWM. So there are few variations available, few possible scenarios with the order-based replenishment. One is replenishment can be triggered when the stock is above the minimum level. So that means if you look at, when you compare with your advanced or preventative replenishment, it is triggered only when the stock is below your minimum level. But in this situation, using the order-based replenishment, because it doesn't consider any of your minimum stocks, basically it considers your stock on demand and requirements, stock on hand and demand requirements. So system can trigger the replenishment irrespective of what the minimum quantities are. So in this example, if you have a stock as 60, which is more than your minimum quantity, set it up. You have a requirement for 100, system is going to, and your replenishment quantity is 50, system is going to trigger a replenishment up to 110, and after your picking is completed, your stocks are back to 10, and then the next replenishment cycle kicks in for the green arrow up there. Either it can be an advanced replenishment or it can be the order-based replenishment, depending on how you set it up, because most of the warehouses are more efficient if you the advanced or preventative replenishment implemented along with the order-based replenishment. And the second variation in the order-based replenishment is exceeding the maximum quantity is possible. So what does that means is, if during your advanced replenishment, system tries to replenish up to the maximum of 150 in this example, whereas if you are doing the replenishment for the order based on your demand, if your demand is very high and fluctuating, system will recommend to replenish whatever is based on your demand. This has to be used with little caution if you have a capacity set it up, because your bin capacity may be up to 150, but system tries to do one max quantity of 225 in this example, because that's what you need to ship it. So this is second variation, or another advantage where you can use the order-based replenishment. Now coming to the benefits, as you all know now, we can order-based replenishment increases your product availability in the forward pick areas. It reduces your cycle times, and it reduces your walking distance in the warehouse, and make sure your resources are utilized properly. It improves your forklift or labor or resources movement in the warehouse. Now, in EWM, YASH, what YASH is offering as a solution. So we have EWM practice, warehouse practice, which with our WM and EWM implementations from SAP, we have different packages available based on, we can start like our simple RDS deployment with limited scope, or we can do full-fledged blueprint and implement your solution, where we have like pre-packaged solution kind, or we can do the blueprint or end-to-end situation. So those are the offerings from in EWM from YASH. We also do an assessment study. We can come to your warehouse and look at your operations and recommend what can be improved and what the process to be implemented, how EWM helps you, what are the gaps. Also, keep watching for our future webinars. We will be informed through our communication channels. These are some of the webinars we are planning to present in the future, like slotting and rearrangement, labor management, RF and mobility, and kitting. Thank you all for attending today's webinar on order-based replenishment.